So during the lockdown, organ tuners were not permitted to work as they were not deemed as essential staff or essential workers. So here we were left at the Basilica to try and limp the organ along tuning wise until it was opened up again that the organ tuners could leave and come and tune for us. So we have, thankfully we have Julian here, as it is a two-person job minimum to tune the organ. One person has to hold the key while the other person goes inside the organ and to the pipe to tune. And we were very fortunate to have Julian on hand, that he could give me a hand with that. Before we get to Julian and the tuning, Adrienne Tedesco stopped by to begin to file away some of the packages from Easter of 2020. Adrienne has been a long-time choir member at the Basilica and also is our main Basilica Choir Librarian. Here's Adrienne's story. Hello, Adrienne.
Hi, Joe.
Filing away music?
Oh, it's so sad. Remember, over a year ago, you gave me a list of music, about 28 pieces. And then I made up packages like this for the choir members. There'd be about 38 or 40 of those. And now we have to put them all back to file. There's no Easter music.
And another Easter with no choir.
Yeah, the second one, and dear knows how long. But you know, we've got the vaccines going.
You just got yours?
I just got mine yesterday. Yes, we did, and get another one in July.
Excellent.
So we're hoping that that'll help everybody, you know, with the vaccines.
Excellent.
And have a choir again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get away from just the cantor and the organ.
Yeah. Although I loved being the cantor when everything was locked down. I was one of the privileged ones to be able to cantor some of the recorded masses during the lockdown. And then again, continuing the recordings at 10:30 on Sundays, which is great for people that can't get to Mass. It's wonderful. There's nothing like being able to go to Mass, and if you can't, you feel as though your whole life is kind of not right. Yeah.
And you enjoy the online masses, being a cantor?
Very much so, although it was a funny feeling because the church was so empty and it was just 5 people in the lockdown. It was a strange feeling. You couldn't, really see anybody, except maybe the camera person and you way up here in the choir loft. Yeah. But they all came out really well, and what I really noticed was just at the beginning, the sound was a little bit echoey, not as clear.
Yeah,
but every time you saw another one, your editing and your filming and your sound, it just improved so much, and now excellent.
Well, thank you.
Professional.
Lots of time to practice.
Oh, it's wonderful.
And nice to see that people are actually watching them.
Oh, yes.
Everybody gets
Yes.
good feedback.
We've got a lot of people watching, and I must tell you that my daughter-in-law, she is a person that is working at a long-term care home in Woodstock, and the people there are excited when the Basilica of Our Lady Mass comes on. They love it, and yeah, they just love it. And if she turns it to something else, they get very upset. So it's nice to see it's going out.
It is, yes, that's wonderful.
Many places.
No, I never thought it would have grown like that.
I know. And John and I, during the lockdown, we'd get ready and come and sit in front of the computer waiting for the Mass to start, and it was wonderful because you couldn't go to Mass. It was a wonderful feeling.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, do you think we'll be putting these together for September?
I hope so. We better. My goodness, it's just such a lost feeling. We miss our choir friends.
It's like a second family, really.
It is a second family, and everybody really enjoys working together.
Yeah.
Makes a good sound.
We do okay.
Oh, yeah.
We're a lucky group that we all kind of mesh well together.
Oh, very well. Yeah.
Yeah, and a supportive rector as well with Father Ed.
Yes.
Very supportive of our
lucky.
ministry.
For sure.
Very lucky, yeah.
For sure. Yeah. That's
Wow.
tops. And also, he was very good to say Mass for us during the lockdown. That was wonderful.
It was very good, yeah.
And you coming to play the organ and filming.
And he was the only priest during the lockdown. so good for him.
Yeah,
for staying the course there.
that's for sure. Yeah.
Well, we'll check back with you in a bit.
Okay.
Thank you, Adrienne, for all you do for us.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I've always enjoyed it. And, you know, that goes back. I started when Simon Irving was choir director, started doing the librarian secretary part. And I've always enjoyed working with the music and getting things ready. So
We just had Simon back for a little visit a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
He played at one of our masses, which was nice to see.
That was wonderful, yeah.
Yeah, he's doing very well. It's nice to see him.
It is nice, yeah.
It was nice to have him play again.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
good to see
We
him.
hope he comes back again.
I hope so.
know,
Yeah,
this
he
is,
would love that,
Always welcome here at the Basilica.
for sure.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Adrienne.
Thank you, Joe.
All the traditional Easter Triduum music that had been picked for the choir would not be heard in 2020 and would not be heard again in 2021. We can always be hopeful for the year 2022. Back to Julian.
Okay, so here we are. Up we go. Here's a little view from the top of the stairs. You can see out here from the pipes. You can vaguely make out sanctuary from there. Here we are at the Great Division, standing here. Here are the big open wood pipes, the big 16 foot. And now we're gonna try and tune the tromba, see if we can get done. There we go. Hit some other, can you hit around there or just do the whole octave? I think I might have hit a couple other ones by accident. What note are you hitting? An A, okay.
one can really take for granted just how easy life was, or how we can get by, when all we need to do is pick up the phone, make an appointment, the tuners come and tune, and it's no problem. The next time you come in and sit down and play, the organ is wonderfully in tune. And to be able to have to phone them up and hear them say that we can't come out and work, we're not essential workers, or we can't cross zones from, say, Toronto area into the Guelph area, as it was kind of frowned upon during the pandemic. They didn't like people crossing into zones. And besides the fact that they just weren't allowed to work. They weren't essential. So a lot of that taken for granted, as it's never happened in our lifetime before.
Okay, so now that we're done tuning with this great tromba, we're now going to move into the swell box, which you can see is located in here behind this door. So I'm going to have to just kick it in a bit. Hopefully you'll excuse me for that. And now we climb in, and here you can see the swell box, which is enclosed. If you look over here at these shutters, you can see that they can be opened or closed. It's open, close, open. And that helps you vary the tone of the organ, so you can, you know, make it sound more quiet or louder depending on your preference. So now we're just looking around at some of the general pipes on the swell. So Joe, maybe let's hear the oboe. You can see the oboe is here. Now let's maybe hear the cornopean. Good. We can see there's other pipes in here. You know, maybe let's hear some of the strings, Joe. Very nice. And of course, one of the fan favorites on this organ. Let's hear the Vox Humana, please. Beautiful. Very nice. Now we will move out of the swell box. Closing this door behind us too for good measure. And we will move back across the grate, and we will move towards the choir box, which is located here. And you'll see it's a bit precarious to get into the choir because you kind of have to jump and slide over that big long gap there. And as you can see down there, that's the bottom of the organ. And you know, getting into the choir is always a bit perilous. So Joe likes to send me up here because I'm skinnier and I can fit in here. So now I'm going to try and get myself in here.
Being a rather large instrument of just under 3,000 pipes, it does take a lot. It's a full day usually to tune the entire organ here. And we would just go up in the last few months and just touch up here and there any bad notes that we could, without any big strenuous effort. If they were easy, we would just tune them on the spot, and then the other ones would just leave for when the tuners are able to return.
Still making my way in here. Okay, and now I've made it into the choir box. So as you can see, the same thing. There are shutters here, open and closed, so we can vary, you know, the level of sound coming out from the choir. And here you can see some of the many pipes in the choir. So Joe, let's maybe hear the clarinet. That's the clarinet. Let's maybe hear the French horn. So as you can see, the French horn here was actually a very recent addition to the organ here at the Basilica. It was actually taken out of an old Austin organ that came from Detroit, and we replaced this French horn with the orchestral oboe. And I think the sound quality from both this stop and just the diversity it provides to the organ is absolutely beautiful. It's definitely one of the better stops on the organ. We can look around a bit more. We can see, you know, some wooden pipes maybe. Joe, let's maybe just hear some of the flutes. cut Joe off a bit there. Oops. And that about wraps things up for the choir box. So now we will move out here towards the grate again, and we hover over the perilous gap. Okay, there we go. And now we'll take a bit of a closer look at the grate. So as you saw here, we were just tuning the tromba. So Joe, maybe give us the tromba just a little bit. So as you can hear, you know, very powerful stop, you know, the main trumpet on the organ. Very loud, and that's for sure. We can move around back here, look at some of the other pipes in the grate. It's, you know, collection of principals, flutes, all the usual things like that. And now we can maybe move a bit to the back, as I was talking about earlier. There's the big 16-foot open woods here that stretch all the way from the floor to up here. So when the Basilica did the organ renovations, every other pipe out of the organ was removed, but these big ones here, as you can see, I'll try and look down, there's not too much you can see, and you can hear them now. As you can hear, they shake the whole organ. But as I was saying, these were among the only pipes that were not removed from the organ upon the renovation because they were just simply too large to take out. And that about wraps it up here at this top part of the organ. So maybe we'll head down and just do a quick little look at some of the other pipes around the organ that are kind of located on the ground part. So down the ladder I go.
Here you can see the high pressure reservoir, and right below it, the low pressure reservoir. These are what is filled up with air, and as the organ is played, the bellows are squeezed to pump out the air that is required to go through the pipes. There are two turbines to power the organ with enough air, a high pressure turbine and a low pressure turbine, and that supplies the air to the organ.
So now we're down here at the bottom of the organ. You can see the humidifier, which is very important to keeping the organ in good shape. And moving back here now, we can see those big 16-foot open woods that we saw back up at the top. If we look back up, you can sort of see where we were earlier, and we can move around a bit this way. And here we see the 16-foot trombones. These are the big pedal reeds. So Joe, maybe give us a bit of the trombone. And this is a bit hard to see, but I'll try and show you the best I can. Might not be able to. If you can closely see some of these pipes, they get up tall, and then you see them kind of curl, which is, or actually no, this is the better view, down here. So you can see here on this pipe, it comes up a bit and then it curls like that. And what that is, that's just a clever way to save space rather than these pipes being, you know, really tall and just stretching up. You can curl it like this one here, or like that one. Hopefully you can see that a bit better. You can curl the pipes like that as a way to save a bit of space. Okay, so then moving back into the organ, you can see down here, hopefully my shadow isn't in the way. It's a bit harder to see too, the lighting in here isn't the greatest. You can sort of see in this box, this is where the old orchestral oboe that I was talking about that used to be in the choir is now resting. It's been replaced by the French horn as of right now. So it's just sitting here in a box right now. Now it was very interesting when we actually took the pipe out. I helped Joe do it one day, and what we did is we brought, we used like a Home Depot bucket, and we would just put some pipes in the bucket, and then you had to carry it down the stairs, obviously, so you can imagine it was a pretty difficult job. You know, you're carrying valuable and, you know, fragile organ pipes down that height, but we made it work, and now it is just sitting there and in its resting place. So I mean, school definitely is the biggest change. So I am enrolled in university. I go to Wilfrid Laurier University. I'm studying Bachelor of Business Administration, and you know, just that change, first of all, it was a big change. You know, going from grade 12 into university, you know, with only really half of the experience you get in grade 12. You know, I missed my graduation, I missed my prom, I missed, you know, getting to come here to the Basilica and, you know, graduate with my classmates in here, because this is usually where the graduation ceremony is held. So, you know, I could have been, you know, playing the organ for my own classmates. So that was a bit sad, but you know, what can you do? And with St. John's, you know, everything's obviously very different. You know, I used to have a bit of a choir that would sing with me at the masses, but that's obviously changed because of the rules with coronavirus. So it's just me and my cantor. And you know, just seeing, you know, the numbers, you know, it's sad when you don't see the church, you know, as full with all the people that you usually would. So it's you know, the changes are there, but I guess you just have to you know, live with them. There's nothing you can really do. So that was a really eye-opening experience, actually. You know, it was when I started doing the first filming. This is when obviously you couldn't even have the congregation in the church. It was really just me, Joe on the organ. We maybe had a reader, a cantor, and, you know, the priest. So it was very surreal. You know, we were just it was, you know, the virus was still, you know, prominent. We didn't know as much about it, so, you know, naturally I was a bit worried coming in. But, you know, all credit to Joe, fathering everyone. Everything was done very safe. You know, we kept distance, you know, everything was sanitized, so that was very well done. You know, just the experience of getting to come back to Mass was probably one of the biggest things for me. You know, you'd been sitting in lockdown, you know, you hadn't, it was just very strange, you know, you hadn't been to Mass in a while, and just getting to come back and experience that in person, it was very surreal, but I felt very comforted, you know, being back at Mass. I thought, you know, okay, there's a bit of normalcy back, you know, we're back to normal. So it was comforting to come back to Mass, if anything.
What are you looking forward to most as we leave the pandemic and move on and try to rebuild what we've worked so hard here, especially, and probably your church as well, but all these churches? What are you looking forward to the most?
Well, what I'm looking forward to the most, probably just playing a big postlude on the organ, if anything. You know, I miss getting to perform here at Masses. You know, I'm lucky enough that when Joe goes away, I get to take over the reins. I get to play the Masses here at the Basilica, and I always make an effort to play, you know, a big postlude, you know, give the people something good to listen for. So if there's anything I'm looking forward to the most, it's, you know, when we can get a good amount of people back in here and I can, you know, just rip off a big piece on the organ on the postlude.